Step into the light where the wild ones roam, where the heart speaks loud, calling this place home. We break the rules, we paint the sky, ridiculously you, we were born to fly. Ooh, it's ridiculously you.
Hey everyone, my name is Julie May, and this is the Ridiculously You podcast. Welcome, welcome. Today's guest is Brandy MacLeod. She is a tarot slinging, guide talker, accidental spiritual rebel. She got into a big car accident in 2019. We're going to talk a little bit about that, about how that totally changed her life when she was a social worker before. She loves doing like crafts and fun things like that, which I'm a big crafty girl. Like I'm always like repurposing stuff in my house and crafting all over the place. So I'm excited to get in, talk to her more about energy and tarot cards and all of like this witchy goodness. And I know some of you out there have a few raised eyebrows and some questions, and I'm also curious as hell. So let's totally get in and get weird together. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on, Brandy. I'm excited to have you. So tell me a little bit more. A question I have, because I was reading through your bio and you talk about going through a big car accident in 2019 and getting more into like tarot and energies and stuff like that after that. Mm-hmm. How much of that was in your life beforehand? Or was the car accident kind of something that opened things up for you?
So, fair question. First off, thank you for having me today. I get that question a lot, actually. And you think by now I'd have a general answer? I don't. So basically, I would say I had tarot kind of in and out throughout before the accident, but it wasn't something that I took seriously with studying until after the accident. So how it actually had happened was an example. Before the accident, I would go to garage sales and I would randomly find old tarot decks. And I just found them fun to pick up and look through the cards and kind of do little readings for myself or a friend, but, you know, kind of wavered. It wasn't very strong at the time. And then after the car accident, one of my friends actually found a class somewhere nearby, and she asked if I wanted to go with her. So I did, and I fell in love with the class and the cards and really just felt kind of pulled to it. So then I went to more classes and started seriously studying it, and oracle decks as well. And then from there got further and further into doing readings for people I knew, and then kind of word of mouth, people heard that I was doing readings, so just had fun kind of learning as I went.
So for those who don't know, can you describe the difference between like tarot decks and oracle decks? Because there's a kind of a distinct difference between the two.
Yes. So the way that I like to explain it is, to me, tarot is kind of like math in the sense that every tarot deck has the same amount of cards. It's 78 cards, and each card has a general meaning, that's the word, attached to it, kind of just all across tarot decks. What changes is usually the imagery. But with oracle, they can have different number of cards in the deck. Most common I find is 44 cards. The meanings differ. It's a lot more like poetry, I find, where anybody that reads that deck will read it very differently because it's based on kind of their interpretation of the card a lot of times. Also, a lot of oracle decks don't actually come with a booklet. You really do have to go through your own intuition when reading those cards.
Do you have a preference? Are you way more into like the tarot, or what's your preference and why?
I find honestly I gear more towards oracle just because it has more fluidity. I can't say words today. I just find it flows differently, and I really find that a lot of the messages I get through cards comes through the imagery, and it changes based on the person I'm reading for. So if I were to pick, I would say oracle, but I do have tarot with like throughout the readings as well.
So what would you just say to somebody who is a skeptic that's like, okay, so how do you know what cards for me? And like, how does that have a message for me? It's just a deck of cards. Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
Totally fair. So I go between what I hear in my head is bring it on. Like, sure, let's try it. I find I've actually done a lot of readings for what I call newbies, so people who've never played with cards before, and that's a lot of fun. Usually what I do in those kind of readings is I try and make it comfortable. Like the last thing I want is for somebody to feel spooked in any way. I'm not here to, tell anybody that they're cursed or there's negative stuff around them. It's more like, let's see what cards are being pulled. I will ask if somebody has a general area that they want to look at, whether it's romance, career, finances, whatever. Travel is a big one, and I'll pull a couple cards and then I'll talk through what I see in the cards, why I see it that way. And kind of a rule of thumb is if you like what you're hearing, then you're on the right track. Keep doing it. If you don't like what you're hearing, then maybe it's just kind of a message coming through to say, maybe look at this a little bit further, think of it in a different way. Maybe you're being challenged at that time, but absolutely, use your own intuition with readings, regardless of who's doing a reading, because things can change, energies can change, and you're in control of your life. Like, just because I see something in the cards doesn't mean it has to be that way.
So I come from a really strict religious background. And one of the things that religion, I'm not associated with that anymore, but that's how I grew up. And until I was like 42, that was like the gig, right? And in that religion, and I think in many like organized religion, they kind of see this as a taboo, as a don't do that. There was like in that religion, there were certain warnings that were put out, like if anyone says they're an energy reader, ooh, be super careful about that. Like, don't go there. If somebody, especially, they had like a big thing against tarot cards, not as much oracle, but tarot cards. It was like, oh, that is of the devil. Like, that is Satan trying to get you to be astray. And so like, why do you think religions are so like afraid of what you can get like in a reading through cards or through just like psychically tuning into somebody? What do you think that the fear is? And kind of tell us a little bit more about this is an evil practice.
So funny enough, I actually grew up in a kind of a pseudo-Catholic household, and I went to Catholic high school, where of course this was taboo.
Yes.
Clearly, I was a rebel at the time because we had a school newspaper, and for a little while, I convinced the teacher that was editing to allow me to do horoscopes. So,
really, in a Catholic school, you got to do horoscopes. You were rocking.
The only pitfall was I had different friends, of course, that had different signs. So they were always like, make sure my sign's a good thing today, right? And it was like, all right, sure, you get a new car and you get a new dress and sure, whatever. Like it was fun. Definitely was a challenge. I didn't do it for long, but it was fun. So I think around religion or certain, just even people in general, I think a lot of the fear that I've come across when I've told people I read, some people are fearful of just what they think the cards will say, or that they're aware that some of the cards, like there is a death card in tarot and everybody freaks because they're like, oh goodness, that means death. No, it means change. It means transformation. It's not meant to be the scary, scary card. But I also think, own opinion, of course, people can absolutely challenge it, and that's fair. I find some religions are afraid of the idea that people can have their own mindset or be able to make different choices for themselves, and they kind of come across making it like, oh, you need to follow God's path or God's way or however you want to call it, so that it's kind of a control, right? I would like to think sometimes though it could just be out of protection. Like some people are scammers, swindlers, whatever you want to call it, but that's not just tarot, that's everywhere in the world. So I think it's, if you want to take it from the nice side, they're being protective. If you're taking it from purely fear-based, it's they're trying to be polite about my wording. They're just, they themselves don't have enough information And so they're scared. And when you're scared, you kind of just tell everybody around you to stay away from it as a way to protect yourself as well.
Mm. So
Yeah.
you talked about, there are people out there that are scammers or swindlers or
Mhm.
whatever. I remember walking down this street in Vegas and having like people shout at me, I'll get your horoscope or let me read your things or like
Yeah.
whatever, like over and over and over, just trying to get like 20 bucks or something, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, how can people tell the difference between somebody who legitimately knows what they're doing in this world, can do it safely, can
Yep.
do it in a way that's like can be for everyone's highest good, and somebody like that?
That, ooh, good question. I have heard of different people. I actually have a client that went to New York and had a situation like that where someone was, come in, and he did out of curiosity, but then it was like, well, now you have to pay extra because there's this curse, and now you have to come back, and la la
Yep.
la. So that to me, it automatically is a no. If somebody's really trying to help, then they're there to step in to help. But if they're kind of saying there's something negative and, oh, I'm here to fix that for you, that I would say no. Also, I find people, it's kind of a connection thing. Like if you generally feel comfortable sitting with that person, then you're probably okay to get a reading. I would say start with a short reading to see if you like how they read the cards and different things. Also, definitely word of mouth is good. So if somebody felt safe with a person, then likely you will too, kind of thing. For me, the way that I work with my guides, like I will not really go to somebody and be like, let me do a reading for you. It's more like if a message comes through, I might say a message to the person. And then if they're interested, then I'll expand. But I don't go up to strangers. That's the last thing I want to do. I'm usually pretty shy and want to hide away. So yeah, it's definitely, if there's a message meant to come through, then I ask my guides to find somebody who will want to come to me to hear it. So I'm not forcing it on them because
Hmm.
it's uncomfortable.
So you talked about your guides. Can you share with
Mhm.
us a little bit about them? Who were
Yeah.
your guides and how did you connect to them?
So I think I've always had them around. I just didn't really have the right wording for it before when I was younger. Like I would see spirits and was definitely afraid of the dark and had very vivid dreams and still do. But now I've learned how to work with it a bit more. So my guides, I have three. I always tell people they're very chatty and they will try and jump each other when they want to speak more than the other guide. So I've given them the little short form name Jam, Jam, because I have Jacques, and I have this on my blog as well, but I have Jacques, and then I have Augustus or Gus Gus, and then I have Mary. So they each kind of have their own role in terms of kind of what they will come forward for more. So Mary, I find, is more like relationship stuff. She's very soft. Gus Gus is usually like up for good food, a good time, like just really likes to see people happy and enjoying themselves, whereas Jacques is a little bit more reserved. Um, all three of them are very conservative when they give answers. I call them a little parental at times because sometimes they come across as being like, don't touch the hot stove, like be careful, we'll let you do it, just be careful. So they're always there. And I tell people as well, they have their own guides. When they do readings with me, my guides are here, they talk to theirs, and then they bring, like, I hear what my guides are saying through your guides. So and I encourage people to talk to their own guides and trust their intuition, trust their gut. That one I know can be tricky for people. So, especially with the trust your gut thing, like trying to determine, am I trusting my gut with this, or is this like, am I feeling this way for a different reason? So, usually what I've learned is if something feels good and safe, that's your gut speaking, you're good to do it. If you're feeling like it's out of an anxiety moment, then best to wait because messages don't come clear through that type of situation.
So,
Hope that made
couple
sense.
things. This is really
Yeah.
funny because my daughter calls me her jam because that's my initials is Julie Amber May, and so like I'm
Oh,
her jam.
ah!
So like, isn't that funny? So like, fun little synchronicity. That is also mine.
Love
So
it.
that's super fun. But here's another, like, from a skeptic point of view. If somebody
Yes.
out there is like, yeah, so you're telling me you hear voices from the
Yep.
other side.
Yep.
So, like, are we sure we're not like in mental illness land? And how
hmm
do you know the difference between you're like feeling a little schizophrenic and having like actual spiritual guides from the other side?
That is a wonderful question and very fair, and very much why I didn't delve into this for a very long time, because I was scared I was going through mental health issues.
Yeah.
So what I learned while I was researching stuff is a lot of people do, they call it, some groups call it like a dark night of the soul. And you kind of are going through a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. You're like, what is happening? And you're hearing voices. Um, for me, I know this will sound weird, and I'm sorry if it triggers anybody, but for me, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're still questioning whether you're like crazy or if your sanity is intact, you're probably still doing okay. It's when you think everything is hunky dory and you see everything and you're not questioning it, then maybe it could be a mental health thing. I think it also changes how, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, if you're able to interact with reality on a day to day still also makes a difference. And there's ways to, quiet the voices down. Like, I'm not walking around talking to them all the time. They need to be quiet too. So it is a tricky one. I will admit that. What the actual difference is, I think everybody would have a different answer based on their own experiences, though. So for me, it was more, um, kind of just testing the waters a bit. Like, let's see if I hear this, if and I would make little notes at times, because a lot of time I find stuff for me comes through music. So depending on the song, I would write a little note in a paper and just be like, okay, let's see what happens. And then it was like, oh, I could see the synchronicity line up after the fact, kind of thing. So I didn't
Mm,
take it right away as, hey, this is, spirits coming through to talk to me. It was like, oh no, what is happening? And then
yeah.
did some research and talked to others.
Yeah, I know for myself, it's like when I have those things coming in, when I'm really calm and I'm meditating
Yeah.
and I'm in an amazing space, and that's when the voices come in, and that's when the guidance comes in and spirit guides and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
am in the most beautiful space ever. I'm not in
Yeah.
fear, I'm not in anxiety. If it was happening when my heart was pounding and I was freaking out and I was
Yes.
having like a little bit of a breakdown, and then the voices started happening, I'd be like, ew,
Ew.
maybe those aren't the ones to listen to.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, that's a bit of a run. Like, no, no. So
Maybe we
I
don't do that.
don't do that. Like, it's like I said, everybody's a little bit different. It's a little bit hard. It's one of those things where you have to learn to, even if it's not voices, it's learning to trust your own body signals, right? Like, if you feel
Yeah.
sick to your stomach or feeling hairs popping up, like, I know different people, because I still watch readers on YouTube and things, and they'll talk about goosebumps. And for them, goosebumps means like they're on the right track. That's something
Mm,
good. For me,
yeah.
goosebumps is like, I don't know about that one, but if my nose gets extra itchy and drives me crazy, well, then yes, then I know I'm onto something, because it's just like, okay, I heard you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So explain a little bit more about spirit guides, if you would. Like, who are they? Like, where are they? Like, are they spirits that have never come and had an earth experience? Are they like, is their sole purpose to be guides for their people? Like, what's your thoughts on
Yeah. Thank you for wording it that way, because everybody for sure will have their own opinions. The way that I see it, it's all the above. So some spirits have been on this earth before, and then they kind of graduated, if you will, to being a spirit guide. A lot of times I find it's past family members that
that?
are
Hmm.
attached to somebody to kind of help guide them. If anybody else out there remembers the movie Heart and Souls, with Robert Downey Jr., it's one of my favorite movies, and the way they explained how he had spirits attached to him as a baby and followed him until like they weren't kind of needed. That's just something that's always stuck with me. But for us, I find a spirit guide once they're with you. They're kind of with you until you're no longer on this earth. Where they kind of are depends on what spirit guide it is. So if they're one that's definitely attached to kind of help guide you, then they are going to be quite close by. They're not very far. We just don't see them usually physically. Others I find are a little bit further out. Yeah, it just kind of depends. Some I find can also be like pets that were there before and had passed on. Hope that answered that. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, like everybody sees a little bit different. I do think that there's some souls that are still like on different planes or different planets and never ever actually came to Earth. They just kind of oversee things. And I think sometimes that can be hard for us, especially when messages come through like, be patient, things are working out. You're like, not fast enough.
Yeah.
Our human brains and bodies, we need it faster. So I think that's also part of karma is sometimes those guides come through and they're like, no, we're teaching you something here, not to be mean as like you need to learn a lesson, but we're teaching you something for your soul to grow. So they never were part of the earthly plane because it would have clouded their vision, I think. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I asked you before we got on if you'd be willing to do a reading.
Yes.
So, like, what are you feeling for me? Do you want to get some cards out? Do you want to talk to your
Yeah.
guides? What are you feeling?
I would love to pull out some cards. I'll show you which ones. As I'm doing this, sorry for my face right there, but can you see
You're my jam.
my little stuffy? I found him at
So here's funny
Michael's.
about that too. My
Yep.
maiden name is Berry, just like Berry, like berries. And
Oh,
so my oldest daughter Tiffany always says, "You're a berry that got made into a jam." Because
oh,
that's my initial spell jam. Isn't that funny?
oh, see, that's awesome. Oh my God, that's so cute. See, I honestly, the funny thing is, when I first started figuring out the names for my guides, another lady that I do readings for, she figured it out. She's like, hey, because I had the orders mixed up, and she's like, it spells jam. And I'm like, oh, yes, it does. So funny. Sometimes you don't see it right in your face. I love it. So awesome. So for you, I'm going to use the little witchlings deck. So we'll pull like quickly from an oracle deck and a tarot deck. For you, I would say more oracle just because of your vibe. A little bit more funsy. One just completely fell to the floor. They don't usually fall to the floor. Oh. So we have rejuvenation. Rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. So when I get this kind of card, it's usually talking about needing to relax and regain your strength, regain your energies. There's also something they're talking to me about a slip or a slip cover. So I don't know if they actually mean like a slip, like a nightgown, or if they're talking about like a slip cover for a couch. So there is a grandmother energy that is around you. Somebody wants to wrap their I'm hearing cushions. Somebody wants to wrap their cushions in like plastic wrap. So somebody's very, very particular and not wanting spills. So I don't know who this is for you, but well, they're coming through loud and clear. I think they would have been somebody that, yeah, how to word it. So because of the way that they were brought up, or there's something about their understanding of the world, but also their standing as they have me shift differently in my seat. It would have been something that if they saw you as a child, for them, they would have basically, you would have made them anxious with your spirit because you were so much more like wanting to move around and play, not necessarily get dirty, but in their mind, it was like you were getting dirty and they didn't know how to keep like your hands clean, from mud.
Yeah.
So basically with that, because I'm like, cool, why the heck are we bringing this through right now? Awesome. Yeah, we have the relaxation card. So this is more like if you are finding you have a moment of anxiety, it may not actually be your anxiety. It may be something that got passed down through the family tree. So it's trying to break that cycle a bit. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
And then
totally makes sense.
Perfect. Yay. And then we have, I love when these cards come together. Hopefully you can see them okay. So we have the courage
Yeah.
card, and I think that's the one I'm holding. Excellent. And then the determination card. So they're just reminding you to keep being courageous in what you do, especially when it comes to career and finances for you. I'm hearing you're eclectic, so you have an eclectic way about you, which is amazing. I also really like your pink hair. They won't let me stop looking at it. So I like it though. It's fun. So whatever you do when it comes to finances, if you can find a way to make it fun for you, that's the way to make your money grow. Literally, because if it isn't fun, if you can't find a way to make it fun, even they're like, even when you do taxes and you can put on some fun music in the background, otherwise you're going to miss something when you do it, or just kind of half-ass it. You know what I mean? Because you're just like, I just gotta get it done.
If
Yeah.
it's not fun, I'm like, why am I doing this?
Why am I doing it? Like, this
Pointless.
sucks. Yeah. So that's a no. And then I just gotta figure out where my tarot deck is. So then I'm using the Light Seers Tarot. That's the other thing I find with a lot of decks. Some of them are really colorful and pretty, and some of them are even kind of like done in a cartoon style, so they feel a little bit more like fun and friendly and approachable. Others are, darker colors or darker scenes. It really, it's fun to be able to open a deck and kind of really play with it before deciding if it's a deck for you.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know how I mentioned patience earlier?
Yeah.
They brought out the Temperance card. So lots about patience. We need patience. Why are we impatient? So yeah. Like, I know with your background we've got flowers, so that's probably why they're talking so much about flowers in comparison, but there's something that you are growing. They're showing me in the mind's eye the Nine of Pentacles, which would be kind of independent growth. So definitely doing your own thing. But they will either show it where it's like just a seedling, or like your background where it's full. And so lots of things are full. They're also showing me where somebody does like that, blowing a wish on a dandelion, right? And to see it spread. So they're asking that you do that. So your wishes will get spread, so that not only your wish comes true, but it's actually others' wishes are the same and they come true too. So you're building like a forest, which is kind of cool. I like this forest. It's really interesting. I'm hearing the word man eater, and then they're playing like Nelly Furtado in my head, man eater. But it's I can picture, what's the half man, half horse fantastical creature?
Is that a centaur?
Maybe it's a centaur, yeah.
I'm not sure. Somebody's gonna watch this and be like, girl does not know her fantasy creature.
No, I know. But I can see, that's why I'm like, I wish sometimes people could just see what I'm seeing, because it's a lot faster. Thank you. But yeah, that's when I said you're building a forest, it's like a centaur is there to protect it as well. So they're also, with the man eater thing, they're trying to flip it. So if there is anything in the romance world for you, they're asking that you pull that energy forward. That you're kind of like flipping the script, that you're more the male energy this time around. Yeah. But lovely, lovely. We have the Nine of Cups in this with the King of Swords. So in this particular deck, so depends on the reader, some will see Nine of Cups as kind of like a stubborn energy and not wanting to share. Others with this particular deck, because of the way the picture is drawn, this is more wish fulfillment. So you're getting what you've asked for, what you want. But again, with the 9, it's like you've kind of ended out a cycle, or about to, and some wish fulfillment is coming forward. With the King of Swords, there's definitely clarity and truth I'm hearing. Owls are important to you, or will be, especially over the next week. They're like the next 7 to 8 days. So definitely if you see owls popping up, you can know that this message is definitely things that are meant to come through, especially those wishes. They're coming through at that time. I don't know. I'm just going to say it because they're saying it. So either it's for you or somebody who's listening. But if somebody who is listening when I said owls, and they, for some reason, were thinking about getting pregnant, wanting a pregnancy, then this is their message that that's coming.
Mm.
So there you go.
That is interesting. So,
Yeah.
so here's some things that are kind of interesting about that is, yeah,
Yeah.
I ended a 23-year marriage earlier this year. So
Mhm.
there was like, a big change in how I do things and what's happening there.
Yeah.
My boyfriend now just took a personality test last week and he
Oh,
was the owl.
no way.
Yeah,
That's fun.
isn't that fun?
Oh my goodness, that's so fun. What personality test is this? I love
Oh,
those things.
so it is part of something I'm launching, actually. It's part
Oh,
of
cool.
the business archetype quiz that is part of the Ridiculous Women Society, which is the thing I'm launching that's going to be like a big thing across the world. So it is like
Awesome.
literally coming out Monday. So
Oh, there you go. 7 or 8
yeah.
days. Excellent. Yay.
So those are kind of some of the big things that are growing. Oh, and I think it was my mom that was coming in earlier
Where's your mom? Okay.
because she was an anxiety mess and I would literally like
Oh,
go in the backyard and like there was an area and I would literally play in the mud
oh,
and she
okay.
had no clue what to do with me and she passed last year and
Oh,
so that's been very interesting to have like because I have all sisters, and all of us are like, we are going to break the cycle of this anxiety and this like holding. We talk about it all the time, how like we're
oh,
doing like very determined steps to do
yeah,
that. To be
yeah.
like, oh no, we're gonna live in grounded self. We're gonna do the healing. We're gonna go through all the things we need to be like healed humans that can
Mhm.
make choices out of instead of reaction. We are just coming in and making actual choices in the things. We're not just getting triggered and just having shit happen because we don't know how to
Yeah.
deal with stuff. So.
Good for
So
you.
all of us have said that. And so it's like, yeah, she's probably on the other side clutching her fingers, like just going, I'm scared. And they used to like, I was the kid that was like jumping off of furniture all the time.
Yeah,
Imagine, if you
okay.
will, if I had big energy and I was jumping off things all the time and I was a big mess and they had no idea what to do with me.
You
And
know,
so, yeah, yeah,
that's awesome though. Like, thank you for sharing it. And good for you and your sisters. Like, there is a lot, I think, just in general with even my friends that I've been talking with, that seems to be, since last year especially, the biggest thing is kind of breaking the generational curses and like
yeah,
the patterns and the different things and just it is kind of scary, right? Because you have to see what you want changed and then you have to try and change it. But in the process of you shifting, others around you have to figure out how to handle the shift. So really,
exactly.
all it was, but like with your mom, like you were a blessing because you were so like messy, like quote unquote
Yeah,
messy. It broke her out of having to be so strict with herself. Like she had to come up with different ways to do things. So you weren't, and sorry with the wording, because as soon as I said the words, they're like, no, no, it's not like you broke her. You made her shift. And
yeah.
that was the purpose, right? So I'm
Mm.
sorry that you lost her though.
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting year since then. We've done a lot of growth as a family, and it's actually been a really good thing. It's one of those where it's brought us closer together in a lot of
Awesome.
ways. We've talked more, we've connected more, we've, done a lot of healing work together. And so it's on the
Yeah.
one side that you're sad that it happened, but on the other side, you're glad that it happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like the best worst thing. I
Yeah.
don't know.
You
Yeah.
use the like sad thing to kind of push into the positive and into the good stuff, which
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that's what happens, right? Like even for myself with the car accident, having to change jobs and things, like it pushed me into a totally different area and different way of kind of existing, really. But you live and you learn and you find joy. Like that's the whole hope I find, right? And with your mom, she was a little, I think she struggled with finding joy. And I think that's where you just kind of like, here's some joy, da, da, da.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
That's so awesome.
So after your accident, as you started getting into this more and more and more, were there people around you who didn't really understand it or reacted? Like, how was the reactions of the people around you?
Oh, fun. Super duper fun. I would take my car. So I was still trying to go back to work, like on an
Mm-hmm.
adjusted schedule. So I would take some of my cards and practice and play with them kind of in the cafeteria before the shift. And different staff would see it and they would get curious, but they would just ask a couple questions and walk away. Um, Other staff, I just didn't feel comfortable sharing that I was learning it, just in general. Um, Friends and family were actually fairly supportive. They were curious. Like my mom, she was curious about it with me. So she would have me do little readings, but she also challenged me a lot and would question if I was really hearing something or if I was just stating an opinion. So that was frustrating. I scared my brother with it because he actually has schizophrenia and has experienced different voices and things. So that was part of why I was like, what's happening on my end here? So
Yeah.
that was interesting. At the time I was learning the tarot stuff, I was also learning Reiki and I was trying to practice it on my then husband. And you could tell he really wasn't interested and kind of made a joke of it. So then we went through a divorce shortly after. So fair enough. So this is what I'm saying. Certain things force you into different kinds of changes or different paths that are meant to bring something lighter and better for you. Because now I'm with a different partner who fully believes in it, encourages it, and lets me explore, and we'll explore it together. So it's very different now. But yeah, there's still for sure different people around me. Like my partner and I will go to shows like markets, and I've done readings there. And so some people will, do a big pass around us because they want nothing to do with it. And that's perfectly fine. We'll still say hello. Like we're not scary.
Yeah.
um, and others will come up and ask some questions. And yeah, you can definitely tell there's skeptics. They're fun to read for, a little bit harder at times because they're quite stoned faced and they won't say anything until the very end because it's like they're afraid to give any information and then they're trying to see if you're a fraud basically.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
and I get it, like it's totally fair because chances are like everybody does it. You kind of need to have that discernment, right? Don't trust everything all the time because that could cause some other problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, are you ready for a quick lightning round?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite tarot deck? Do you have a favorite?
The Light Seers Tarot.
Why is that one great?
I just the imagery is quite beautiful and the energies that come from it are very soft. It's like anytime I read with it, you kind of get a bit of a hug.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's the most ridiculous things your guides ever told you?
Oh, so being appropriate, they can get cheeky. I say they get cheeky. So if we're looking at romance, they can get, you know, down and dirty at times. So they will, depending who I'm reading for and if they're okay with it. Like I do let people know in readings, I generally some swears will come out, but sometimes they will get very cheeky.
That's funny. Love
Yeah.
that. Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest place you've ever done a reading?
Oh, good question. Um, it's not exactly weird, but it's definitely different. I've done readings in my car. Like I've
Yeah.
had friends sitting in my car and I'll just start, we'll park and I'll start doing a reading. So, yeah, I think that's probably the weirdest for location. Yeah.
Okay. If your if your soul had a color and a song, what would they be? What color is your soul today?
Oh,
It might
oh,
change.
it does change. That's funny. Um, I would say my soul probably goes between like I want to say pink, but I would say it's kind of like a murky pink, like
Hmm.
kind of like some browns, some grays, like a gradient.
Right.
Um, but with the guides, they're like yellow. They're constantly shouting at me with the yellows and singing. I've got the joy, joy, joy down in my heart. Like they're always, That's their big thing to kind of like dispel any negative or anxious energies.
That's cute. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you do on a fun night? You're like, I'm gonna go have fun tonight, inside, outside. What are you gonna do? You want to have a fun night? It looks like what?
So I'm very much a homebody. So usually a fun night at home is chilling out with the partner and we'll pick a movie to watch. We love our horrors, or like cartoons and
Hmm.
playing a board game. If I'm feeling a little bit more social, then it's either going to our neighbors or having some people over and we're playing cards. I love King's Corners. That is
Mm.
my favorite card game, and that's probably the one thing where you'll see my competitive side come out because I'm not that competitive, but with that game, very much.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Ooh, I have a few. For like spooky season, I was thinking about this morning, and it's A Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
We'll have to look that up. We've been watching all the spooky stuff lately.
Oh, it's so good. And Treehouse of Horror, like The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. We're
Yes.
starting that tonight because I have to watch them every year.
They're so good though.
They're
They make me
so
laugh
good.
so hard. You're like, who comes up with this stuff? That's what
I
I want
know.
to know. The writers on Simpsons, who comes up with this every year?
I
It's like,
love Simpsons. I love it so much. It's one of the things that, like, because just in general with my life, I will, in conversation, I will think of something that happened on Simpsons and I'm like, I can see it. I can see how it relates. Like,
isn't that funny? And that
love
show's
it.
been going for like 30 something
I
years.
know.
Like, brilliant. It's crazy.
It's
Okay,
amazing.
Brandy, if
Mm.
people want to follow you, see more about what you do, how's the best way to connect with you?
So there's a couple ways. Usually I would say website because it has all the info for the socials and can email me from that.
And tell
Um,
them your website just in case somebody's listening and they're going to get the link
sure.
later.
Nope, no worries. So it's 333 thespiritual.ca.
Hmm.
And then
333 thespiritual.ca. Cool.
yeah, and then it's 333 the spiritual on TikTok and Instagram. So at least once a week I try and post, 2 3 minute short videos that are general readings. I do have a YouTube channel that's at 33 the spiritual. That one's moving very slow, but that's okay. Those are longer general readings. But
Mm.
normally, there is a form on the website that if you want to connect for a reading or ask about a reading, definitely can. I do group readings. A lot of them are over the phone without um, face. So, because I find facing people kind of distracting when trying to bring messages forward. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's different options. And also on the website, different times I'll have deals going on because, it is a little bit of an investment to do a reading, but especially for new people, I try very hard to kind of give them a little extra time if I can because you've never sat down with me. It's a little bit different and kind of see how the flow goes, if that makes sense.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. I am so happy I love having just a whole variety of people on here. So,
Yeah.
whether you believe in guides or cards or just good old gut instincts, Brandy MacLeod reminds us of something vital. When we mute the parts of us that don't make sense to other people, we often lose our magic. So don't lose your magic. Be loud and be ridiculous, wherever that looks like for you. And you don't have to understand somebody else's path to respect it. That's why we bring on a
Mhm.
wide variety of guests on here. And you sure as hell don't have to hide your weird to be loved. So whether you're lighting a candle, pulling a card, or just taking a nap with your dog, be you. And I'm excited that Brandy was with us today. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing your beautiful self. And with that, I'm going to tell everyone thank you for being ridiculous today. And we'll see
Yay.
you guys later.
Share the spark, take it higher. Hit subscribe, bring a friend. Let the wildness never end.